All right, guys, back to work. Back to work. Weekend is over. We got some more money to make this week. I got some fantastic trades I'm tracking for tomorrow. Markets are still bullish overall, right? But as you saw today, some nice deep pullbacks off the high. A lot of bearish momentum. Perfect spot for buyers to start getting back in these markets. And I got some bear traps on my radar for tomorrow. A beautiful double bottom reversal for us tomorrow. So no shortage of great money making opportunities for us in the video tonight. I'm going to cover my favorite trades in the video. That way you guys have a game plan to make some money on Tuesday. Now, before we jump in and get the game going tonight, make sure you subscribe to the channel. That way you don't miss tomorrow night's video. So make sure you subscribe. If you like these lessons, hit that like button. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a shout out down in the comment section below. Thank you so much for tuning in, supporting the channel. Enough of the intro though, Joe. Let's get Tuesday going. We've been on a roll the last few weeks. I can't believe we got only a few weeks left of the year of 2023. So let's get after it. On the 60-minute charts to start off tonight, the Nasdaq and the triple Qs. I got the Emini and the SPY. Remember, I like to use the 60-minute time frames to give me a bigger picture look. It makes it easier to plan my trades for the following day. Later on in the video, though, we'll drill down to some tick charts. Tick charts are how I like to time the perfect entry. So we'll start off in the big picture 60 and we'll drill down and we'll talk entry tactics on the tick charts as we go deeper into the lesson tonight. What are the 60-minute charts telling us right now? Well, again, we're overall bullish overall. The S&P, of course, is running right into major resistance right now. So my goal right now on the S&P is to buy as low as I possibly can, right? So we're bullish overall into resistance. I love the idea of a double bottom reversal on the S&P. Nasdaq's a bit different. It's a bull market overall into a trading range, right? We now, of course, have that big, we call rotation off the high. We're in a beautiful spot right now for buyers to come back in and try to load the boat back up and go back up into that range. But look at how strong that move down though is. Yeah, whenever you see a strong move like that, we know that bear traps are probably where the money is made on the Nasdaq. So similar but quite different between the S&P and the Nasdaq. And of course, we're gonna drill down to some tick charts here in a moment and talk about bear traps and double bottom reversals, and we'll go over all the entry patterns here as soon as possible. But before we dive into the tick charts though, let's double check the schedule for tomorrow, because it's one big thing you want to have on your radar for tomorrow, and that's of course 10 o'clock Eastern time. We have what is really the big news of the week until we get into that employment number coming on Friday morning. The only item we have tomorrow, ISM Services Index and that JOLTS report. The JOLTS report is arguably the more important news report, but it won't matter. So tomorrow morning, remember, anytime we have major news like this at 10 o'clock Eastern time, you want to be paying attention. So we'll definitely be watching that closely tomorrow in our trade room. And then really from there, we don't really have anything really big. We have ADP on Wednesday, but we don't have much more there until Friday's non-farm payroll. So I'm looking forward to hopefully get some nice volatility off that ISM and JOLTS report tomorrow morning. So be aware of that tomorrow, 10 o'clock Eastern time. Let's get back to our charts though, because of course the money is made on the charts. Let's now drill down to our tick charts and talk about where the best entries are going to be for tomorrow. Get the S&P in front of me first, and we'll finish tonight on the Nasdaq. They're quite different, so you'll make sure you want to watch all the way to the end here tonight. As I mentioned in the introduction, we're bullish overall. We're running into major areas of resistance. It looks like we're at the low of this channel. It looks like a great spot to be trying to be a buyer, but whenever I'm bullish and I'm running into major highs, that was that September 1st high from a few months ago. Whenever I'm bullish, running into major highs like this, my goal, my mindset is to buy as low as possible, right? Buy as low as possible. And I'll show you what I mean by that on the tick charts. Over on the tick charts right now, this of course is a 7,000 tick chart, upper left-hand corner, and this is the 21 EMA. In case you're watching here for the first time here this evening. Now, there are really two big clues right now on the tick charts. One of them is the strong moves in really both directions right now. We have strong moves time 2 right now. anytime I see a strong move higher in a bull market, it kind of creates a bullseye. Anytime we see a strong move in one direction, we're expecting a pullback and a retest of that level. So we pretty much know where the buyers want to get to. They want to punch that ticket at 46.07 3/4. If you were here last week, if you watched the videos last week, this is kind of a refresher. We did a lot of this work last week here on the videos. You'll also notice too, right? The more recent move lower is also very strong. Now, recency is very, very important. What is most recent is the more important of the two. So because of that strong move down, we expect to get that pullback and that retest of that low. Now, think about this. Overall bull market, strong move down. This is why I said earlier, I love the idea of a double bottom reversal. We may not get it. We'll talk about why I say that here in a moment. The second clue I'm seeing right now is it looks like we're starting to build a range right in the middle of this chart. Ranges act like magnets. Ranges love to rotate back and forth. So this kind of feeds into it. If we do get that retest of that low, I love the idea of that double bottom reversal. So let's talk about this, right? I think there's plenty of ways to make money in this tomorrow. Remember, I want to buy as low as I can right now. I like the idea. I love the idea of that double bottom off of that low. There are probably 3 different patterns I'll use, right? I don't have a crystal ball. I can't see the future. So we'll talk about 3 different variations of entry patterns you guys keep an eye on for tomorrow. We may not get there. This is a beautiful spot right here for a bear trap. I like that entry as well. Now, this entry, we have to be a little bit careful on this one because, again, we haven't taken out that low yet. So we'll talk about how to prevent yourself from getting a fake out on that one. And then obviously, too, with that big move up overall bull market, I'm going to talk about later on in the video if we do wind up going higher. If we go higher, there are 3 ways to make money on the market going higher here, and we'll break that down as we go deeper into the video. So I mentioned earlier, let's kind of break this down now, right? Going lower and, of course, going higher here. I would love to get that double bottom, right? We may not get there, though. We may only get below that 45.65. I want to buy as low as I can right now, right? Because that 60-minute chart. So as we go lower, I have to use what's called basically a bear trap in this area. In my free video classes, we talk a lot about this pattern, right? It's a higher high in price and a trap below this low. So unless we're way down here, I want to buy as low as I possibly can, and to do that, it's going to be a bear trap. Now, if we wind up going down to that low, then what I can do is I can use that classic failure into pullback combination. Now, remember, at this point, we're very bearish in the short term. So remember, we don't pick bottoms, right? We don't pick bottoms. What I do is I find an area where I'd like to be a buyer. I then like to let the bears come in, try once, and try twice, because once those bears try twice, then I have their stops, and their stops can basically fuel the move going back up into that range and potentially back up to take out that high. So in the free video course, I talk about these as failure patterns, right? It's a 1, 2, and you're buying into stops. Now, if we do get that failure and we pop up, I like to look for what I call the failure into pullback combination, right? Where it's basically just a bear trap, ultimately a bear trap, a 2-try failure off the low. And then as we start to make our run back into that range, and as we start hunting for taking out these highs up here, we then look to buy that first pullback. Now, sometimes the pullback doesn't come that easily. Sometimes it ends up kind of grinding higher like this, and I'll have to wait for another kind of variation of a bear trap. But I want you to think about that basic idea, right? So double bottom, remember, it's an overall bull market. So you have to think, sellers are taking profit down here, buyers loading the boat back up again, trap those bears in, that failure, and then think about a pullback combination or in this case, a trap entry. Again, this should be pretty familiar with you guys if you're in that free video course right now, which reminds me, if you're watching for the first time right now, this might be a brand new lens language for you. But don't you worry, I teach all these entry patterns. I have hundreds of examples of failures and traps and pullback combinations. I cover the whole thing inside of my free video course. What I'll do is I'll put a link up here for you in the upper right-hand corner. Grab that link and take that free video course there, because the strategy I teach in that video series will teach you a simple trick we use in our members trade room to know exactly where the best winning trades are going to be that day. Then I'll help you kickstart you making money on your own. I'll teach you 4 my favorite entry patterns. I'll tell you right now, the markets are way too good not to be making good money right now. If you're missing the best trades each day, if you're struggling to qualify for a funded trade account with OPEX or Top Step, hit that link up there. Take that free course. It's perfect for someone who wants a roadmap to find more winning trades each day. And also keep in mind too, if you can't grab the link up top there, I'll put all the important links down here. Description of the YouTube video, put the free class links, the trade room membership links, and I also do a lot of posting on Twitter during the day. If you're on Twitter, I'll put my Twitter handle down there for you as well. Give me a follow there for updates in between these YouTube videos. All right, so at this point, I think I've covered a pretty good game plan here for tomorrow. Recent move going lower. I'm looking for it to make that run and then potentially back up from there. Later on in the video, I'm going to talk about if we go higher here, because again, there's about 3 different ways I'm watching if we go higher. Let's cover one more variation though. Again, I love the idea of taking out these lows, trapping the bears in and right back up again. Every once in a while, we get what I call a V bottom off that low, right? So if I take out that low and they just simply V bottom and run right back up again, remember, I'm not a big believer in picking bottoms, right? So sometimes what happens is I would love to get that pull back. I'd love to get bears trying a couple times. I would love to get that long into those stops. It looks just like this actually, right? As they pull back, right? Bears once, bears twice, and up. I'd love to get that pattern, but sometimes we get that V bottom. And the V bottoms like this, remember what you want to do is you want to buy as low as you can right now. Remember the 60-minute chart on the E-mini chart, right? Want to buy as low as we can because we're into overhead resistance on the 60-minute. So if we start seeing it V-bottom off that low and the bears try once and we go right back up again, I want you to think about this pattern. It's a bear trap. That's all it is. Remember, let me talk about in the video course, in the free video course, one of the many reasons why I love traps is because they allow us to buy as low as possible. Now remember, it's a higher high in price and a trap off of that low. All right, so kind of keep an eye on that. Sometimes these will, again, sometimes they'll bounce hard and start grinding like that. If that happens, don't chase it. Whatever you do, not chase that move going higher. What I'll do in this case is draw a trend line off that high, bring it down off that low, right? Look left, find some prior swings, and again, I like those trap entries. This could be any of the entry patterns you guys are learning. This could be a bear trap, like I'm showing you here. I just want to make sure you understand that there's a very big difference between 1, 2, and buying this, right? That trade, that is a risk small to earn large, right? If it's a variable like this, if it goes up like this, 1, 2, see that? Very different, right? Very different. Now risk is here. Now reward is there. You know what I mean? That's not as desirable. So if you see something like this happen, it's all about buying as low as you can, right? I know it makes sense, right? Buy low. We all know to buy low, but it is so much easier said than done, isn't it? Especially when you're, when our monkey brains, right, are telling us to chase after this thing going higher here. So just be aware of that bear trap if it does V bottom off of that low. Now, next big question, right? What if we don't? What if all we get is that little bear trap right there, and we sprint going higher here? How do we make money on it going higher? Could I sell up off of these highs right now? Let's talk about that. How about some Nasdaq? The Nasdaq's a pretty interesting chart right now. It is very different, as you can see, from the S&P, but we kind of have the same game plan, which is always kind of interesting about the Nasdaq and the S&P. Right now, very simple. We're bullish market into a trading range. right? We've got this just beautiful rotation off the high. If you're taking my free video class right now, we call these pendulum swings, right? The ranges they love to rotate. So now we get that pendulum swing taken out. It seems like, and there's a couple channels you could put on here as well. It seems like this would be a great spot to load the boat, right, and run back higher. The challenge, though, is, like I mentioned earlier, is the strength of this move. When we see this on a tick chart, this will feel very, very bearish on a faster time frame. And whenever we want to be a buyer, but I have a lot of momentum I'm fighting, right? A lot of bearish momentum, bear traps, right? Bear traps are almost always the key to making money in these types of situations. You know, the S&P, right? The S&P is too high up, right? The Nasdaq is not that problem. The Nasdaq is nice and deep right now. It's just the problem is, you know, there's never a free lunch, right? There's no free lunch in trading. I'm now in a great spot to be a buyer, but I'm fighting against momentum, right? The S&P is a lot more bullish right now, but we're fighting against location, right? Remember, it's always that balance between location and momentum. Right? There's never going to be a perfect scenario where everything is easy, right? It's always either bad location or, like right now, great location, bad momentum, right? To be a buyer, right? On the S&P, it's great momentum, but it's bad location. It's always going to be a balance between those two. If you don't see that balance, you're missing something. It's kind of the way the markets work. Anyways, I'll get on my soapbox now. Over to the tick charts, okay? Once again, tick charts. I think tick charts make everything easier. We trade tick charts in our morning trade room. Similar clues right now, but a bit different clues. First of all, strong move down for those sellers. Whenever I have a strong move down like this, the first thing I think of is we're going to pull back and retest that low. And that's why I said earlier, I love me some bull trap, some double bottoms, right? Double bottom reversal. Love the idea of a double bottom reversal here on that. You'll notice above us got that range. And remember, ranges act like magnets. A bunch of ranges right now on the NASDAQ, right? So range above us there, range above us there. We saw that on the 60-minute chart as well. So we notice a bunch of ranges overhead. So we're bullish overall, right? Bullish overall. Ranges acting like magnets overhead, strong run down, right? You put this recipe together, right? Bullish overall, strong move down, range above us. It's all about bear traps. All about bear traps, baby. Now, the game plan on the NASDAQ, almost identical, right? Almost identical. If I can run back down to those lows, love the idea of 1-2, failure into pullback combination, going back up to these highs, right? I'll go over this quickly here once again. If we V-bottom off of that low, right? Don't chase it going higher, right? Buy as low as you can. I don't want to see folks buying above that high right there. You want to buy as low as you possibly can. And again, because of that strong move down and how high the odds are of a retest of that low, if all I get, because this is a great entry pattern right here. This is a great bear trap spot. It's a higher high in price and right below that low. I like the idea of that long. Again, all that momentum though makes me a bit nervous. So because of that, I want to trap those bears in, right? Get those bears committed. Let them try to get that thing going down to that low because we're going to need those stops. We're going to need those stops to fuel this. Again, it's a higher high in price and a trap below that low. So pretty much all bear traps, whether it be that failure pattern or like a bear trap like I'm showing you right now to run higher. Now, speaking of running higher, we know where the market wants to go right now, right? The market wants to run back up. There's a range overhead, and so ranges love to rotate, right? Ranges want to rotate back and forth and back and forth. So if we end up going higher, we pretty much know where the market wants to go. It wants to rotate back to the other side of that trading range. In fact, there's a little gap on there you can see over the weekend there. So I would imagine buyers have one thing on their mind to fill that gap. Now, what you want to think about right now is this trading range, okay, that trading range. One thing you need to learn about ranges is ranges love to break out, pull back. So break out and then pull back, right? Break out, pull back. So imagine now on the way up to taking out that high, Okay, I can buy bear traps on the way up. Love the idea of flipping what is resistance right now into support for a breakout pullback. I like that idea a lot as we go. So if we go higher, my go-to pattern whenever I'm breaking out of a range is a bear trap. Right, so this would be buy bear traps, right, as it runs higher. You guys know how to find these by now, right? It's a higher high in price and a trap below that low. These are so important as we go higher because traps allow us to buy as low as possible. And then again, once we start getting up around areas of resistance, maybe before that happens at all as well. Again, this area right here is an area of resistance. More importantly, it's the top of that current range we're seeing right now. If I flip what is resistance right now into a support zone, right, what is resistance becomes support, well, now what I can do is wait for that nice deep pullback, get underneath that 21 moving average. Now, watch closely. What I'll do is I'm going to draw a trend line off those highs, okay? Bring it down off that low and see what that does. That'll give us a channel up there, right? I'll try to kind of connect these highs up top like that, bring it down off that low, right? Find that channel. And my goal is always to find one of these channels, line that up along with that kind of prior high up there. Bottom line is get underneath that moving average, try to buy as low as we can, get those bears trapped in. And this is one of those failure into pullback combinations we talked about earlier, right, as we go higher. All right, so bottom line is buy a deep pullback if it goes higher, right? So if we end up really ripping and running higher here, I don't want to chase it. We're overall bullish, so I like the idea of buying a pullback. But again, think about now, how can I use some of these prior levels, these prior highs, how can I use these now as key support levels? How can I get underneath that moving average, get the bears coming in? Remember, anytime we see a strong move higher, what do we expect? A pullback and a retest of that high. So could I go out and find maybe a big old channel right off that high like that? You know what I mean? Looking left, finding channels. The bottom line is once I get below that moving average, get those bears to come in and try a couple times and then light those stops up with that failure into pullback combination. We're hunting for, right, a retest of those highs. Now, another very common question is if we do wind up to those highs and I'm anticipating that pullback, how could I short this thing, right? How would I short off the high? Well, we're overall bullish, and in this case, we're short-term bullish. Right? So if we go higher here right now, again, I have no crystal ball. I don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. Nobody does, right? So I'm kind of game planning different scenarios because that's the way you make consistent money. Making predictions is a waste of time because if you make predictions, you kind of straddle yourself onto one way to make money that day. So this way we'll have a bunch of different game plans and ready for tomorrow in our trade room. In this scenario, if it runs higher here right now, we are bullish in the long term. We're also bullish in the short term. So trying to pick a top on this is a very challenging situation, right? So the best pattern to do that is called a crown reversal. If we go higher up here, right? If we go higher, if I try to sell up here, I'm fighting against bullish momentum, right? So there probably aren't going to be a lot of bears up here. So I have to use the buyers to help me get short. And to do that, we have to use basically a failure pattern with a bull trap, right? It's buyers trying once, it's a lower low in price, it's buyers trying twice. This pattern should look very familiar. It's the same pattern we talked about a moment ago for a bear trap. This one is a bull trap. It's simply buyers trying once, buyers trying twice, lower low in price. And again, the reason why we do this is because we need those stops, okay, to fuel this move going back down again, right? All that bullish momentum, all right? If I'm going to sell this, I need something to help me counteract that momentum. And to do that, I need stops to get run. I need some catalyst to make that move. Now, remember, we are going to be looking for a breakout pullback, right? So as we pull back right now, I don't want to sell this thing as it goes lower. Okay, this is why a crown reversal is so critical in this. I need to be getting in short up here, okay? I need to be taking my one-to-one profit target before I reach that channel. Make sense? Okay? If I run up and I go 1 2. Okay, there's buyers once, buyers twice. Stops are right there. If I sell right here, if I sell right there, I am usually walking right into a trap. All right. And I know this because I have a lot of experience, and I think I gave most of my money away to traps like this when I was a new trader. But again, think about this. We're so bullish overall. Find that channel. No wonder these things will oftentimes fail, right? They'll fail on you. However, if I get that run up, buyers once, buyers twice, and I get that bull trap, nice strong entry signal, back down again. Now my 1-to-1 is right there. We'll take our first profit target at that 1-to-1. Now, if we're going to get bear trapped, good for them, right? Good for them. They want to hold right there. That's fine. Makes sense, right? I'm already out of that 1-to-1. Stop is already down a point of entry. There's no more risk on that trade any longer. Okay. At that point, if it wants to dump, it's all gravy, baby. It's all gravy at that point. However, again, I cannot sell low. Okay. If you're trying to sell low in an overall bull market, you kind of deserve to lose money, right? You're paying your tuition to the more experienced traders who have learned this lesson already. All right, guys? I hope that makes sense, okay? If I want to short a bull move like this, I have to get one of these, right? I've got to go up, buyers once, buyers twice, above that high, and then back down. All right? Buyers once, lower low, buyers twice. That's the way in which you sell high. That's the way you prevent yourself from getting trapped and getting your face ripped off on that breakout pullback. Okay? Boy, I'm kind of getting excited just talking about this stuff right now. It's amazing. I've been doing this over 15 years now. I still get excited every time I think about the following day. The game plan is all set. The only variable right now is that JOLTS report tomorrow at 10 o'clock Eastern time. That's the one thing we don't know how the markets will react to that 10 a.m. news tomorrow, but that's all right. We expect the markets to throw some curveballs tomorrow. That's exactly what we have, a trade room. Every morning we get together, we update our charts overnight, and we trade this stuff together. I can't think of any better way to learn to trade than to come out and trade it with me every morning, 8 o'clock Eastern time. I'll put the link in the description of the video. I would definitely recommend start first with the free classes. Learn the basic strategy, see a bunch of examples on the website, kind of learn the basics of it, and that'll get you primed and ready for trading with us sometime soon in the morning trade room. So I'll put all the important links down in the description of the video. Questions, any issues getting access to our free videos, if you have any trouble getting into the video course, call the office, use live chat. We're always here. I'm always here. So if you have questions or you're having trouble with anything we talk about tonight, definitely keep in touch. Don't be a stranger. I'm here to help if you need me. Boy, what a fantastic day it was today. A record-breaking day today in our morning trade room. Boy, I'll tell you, if we do half as well tomorrow, I'll be a very happy trader. Hopefully, I'll see you there tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock Eastern time. If not, same time, same place back here tomorrow night. In the meantime, be well, be nice to each other, stay warm out there. It's cold here in LA this time of the year, so stay warm. I'll see you guys, same time, same place tomorrow night. Be well, be nice to each other, be here tomorrow. Adios, amigos. Bye for now.